Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walah, amma ba'd. Inshallah today we will be learning a new topic or new title, new contract. This is I think the first contract lah in our course Fiqh Muamalat 2, Fiqh Muamalat 2. I think most of you are aware and have your own knowledge or previous knowledge with regard to the ijarah, because in the Fiqh Muamalat and Jinayah PY 1172, I think all of you have learned a lot about the ijarah, and of course in terms of the implementation and the application of ijarah, you also have got knowledge on that particular implementation. However, today inshallah we will try to learn more in terms of the Sharia aspect of ijarah, and also the most important is the application of ijarah in the Islamic financial institutions in Malaysia, in particular, and also in the world lah. Okay. Basically, the application of ijarah can be seen in various structure, but for the purpose of our today course or today session, I think I will try to focus on one structure of the current application only. Because of the slide, basically the slide, the slide basically prepared by Dr. Makno. Dr. Makno is he was the owner of the subject or owner of the course in the previous semesters, but by the will of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala and by the decree of Allah, dengan takdir Allah, for this semester I am your facilitator lah. I am your your lecturer for this subject for this year. Okay, never mind lah. Okay, but Dr. Makno will assist me also, and I will try. Maybe next week Dr. Makno will be with you to teach on the Ji'alah or Ju'alah, insyaAllah. For the purpose of our class today, anyone, if you have any questions, or I just you can just raise up your hand, or you just ask me. And because of the slide, okay.
Ada student yang masih request nak masuk team.
Oh, okay. Kenapa lambat sangat? Saya dah lama dah tu, sebab tu benda-benda macam ni dia mengganggu. Kat mana pula saya nak buka nanti? Let me do this. Okay. Okay, di sini. Lepas ni tak perlu request lah kan?
Tak perlu.
Okay. So, okay. Okay, ada lagi yang semua okey kan? Firdaus dah masuk ke? Ini Dayang. Ni apa ni? Okey. Okey, so Dr. Makno prepared the slides in English. So sebab tu mungkin anda kena mengajar dengan English lah kot. And we can try to campurization lah with bahasa Melayu and with bahasa Arab. Okay. Al-ijarah, so this is the content of this slide.
Assalamualaikum doktor.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi.
Ana ada dengar ada redundant suara lah.
Redundant suara
Dia macam ada dua. Satu lagi tu macam ada kelas lain tu dia ganggu sikit.
Okey lah lagi.
Okey dah
ke?
boleh dengar. Dah okey dah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you doktor.
So the content of the slides ataupun today session, insyaAllah we will start with definition of ijarah, evidence ataupun the dalil lah, the pillars ataupun the arkan or rukun of al-ijarah, syurut, conditions of ijarah, comparisons between al-ijarah and normal sales. Kita akan touch a little bit on that particular part. And the last one, al-ijarah thumma al-bai', ialah one of the current application of ijarah in the Islamic financial institutions. So in terms of definitions, as you know, ijarah is the word, Arabic word, the term of Islamic fiqh. In literal meaning, the word ijarah means basically from ajara or ajira, ajrun. You know ajrun? Ajrun means what we call it as pahala lah kan. Di sini disebut the compensations or award. Award ini is a consideration lah. So from the literal meaning, ijarah also means the to give something on rent, to give something on rent. Macam itulah kan. So dari segi bahasa, dari segi istilah technical meaning, ijarah is a contract of proposed and non-usufruct with a specified and lawful return or compensation for the effort or work which has been expended. Iaitu satu kontrak of a proposed and non-usufruct, kontrak untuk sesuatu yang manfaat yang diketahui lah, manfaat yang diketahui with a specified or lawful return, dengan sesuatu balasan yang halal dan juga yang specified, yang telah determine lah, ditentukan, atau compensation, ada bayaran upah, upah for the effort or work which has been expended, untuk usaha ataupun kerja yang telah diberikan lah. Okay. So daripada definisi ni, kalau kita lihat the term ijarah ni, basically in Islam atau in fiqh perspective, the term ijarah is used for two different situations. Okay, in the first place, basically ijarah means to employ the services of a person on compensation atau wages given to the so-called employer lah, given to the employee lah, given to the worker as a consideration ataupun compensations for hired services for the effort, for the work. This one we call it in our bahasanya sebagai contract of upah. So the employer is dalam bahasanya kita panggil mustajir, and the employee is called ajir lah. Pekerja tu kita kata ajir. So itu yang pertama, the first one. Tapi the second type tu a contract. The first part of the technical meaning or the istilah, a contract of proposed and non-usufruct with a specified and lawful return. The first part basically touch or relates to the usufruct of assets of property. Manfaat manfaatul al-mal al-muayyan. Maknanya apa nama? Contohnya, not relate to the services provided by the human being lah. Maksudnya contohnya ialah rumah, kita ada manfaat dia, ada usufruct di rumah. Okay, faham tak? So that one we call it sewa in our bahasa. Okay, So that is the word ijarah. The word ijarah. Okay, faham sini? So, okay. Dari segi bahasa, dari segi istilah juga, yang ijarah ni is used to express the sale of buy of a known benefit in return for its known equivalent. Maknanya dalam istilah ini juga, ijarah biasanya juga dikenali dengan nama sale of a known benefit ataupun buy al-manfa'ah al-ma'lumah. Buy al-manfa'ah al-ma'lumah. In Maliki school of thought, they also talk about, ijarah. Disebut ijarah ini pun dalam bentuk so-called bai' al-manfa'ah. Bai' al-manfa'ah. Okay, nature of al-ijarah. Lease atau ijarah is a contract by which the owner of land, this one is what we call it as a sewer, owner of land, a building, allows another person to use it for a specific time, usually in return for a rent. So when A, for example, lease out his office or lease out his a building, a land to a person, A usually will get a return, which is we call it a rental price atau rental lah, which is rent lah, sewa. So al-ijarah means a lease contract as well as a hire contract. Kalau lease contract is sewa, and hire contract we call it as upah. So that the first one is relates to the usufruct of asset or property. The second one, hire contract, is relates to the usufruct basically is the services provided by a person. Okay, faham? Al-ijarah is also known as al-qira. Another word of ijarah. Some of the Muslim tourists use the word al-qira to reflect the same meaning, which is al-ijarah. It is like someone who is selling to someone else right to benefit or as a payment for services with a certain price to be paid for it. Okay, but in the context of Islamic banking, it is a lease contract under which the bank or financial institution lease equipments or a building to one of its clients against a fixed charge. For the purpose of our current application in terms of Islamic banking implementation of those Islamic contracts, basically the most important segment is, or the most important kind of ijarah is sewa, which is lease contract, not hiring contract. Not hiring contract. In fact, when you read the ijarah policy document issued by Bank Negara of Malaysia, the policy document specifically mentioned stated that the policy is only meant to the first one lah, the first type of ijarah, which is lease contract, not hire contract or hiring contract. This one is added by me, so I will share lah the new slide to you, insyaAllah. Under the ijarah PD, Bank Negara only focuses on the lease contract. So this is clearly stated lah dalam section 9.1. Kalau kita tengok 9.1 ini, you all boleh download semualah. Lepas ni download sendiri je al-ijarah punya policy document. Al-ijarah and ijarah shall be categorized as follows. The first one is a lease contract. Apa maksud lease contract? Lease contract is to transfer usufruct of a particular asset to another person in exchange for a rental. Okay, this is what we call it in bahasa Melayu is sewa. The second one is a hire contract atau upah, kontrak upah. Tapi both lease contract and hire contract in Arabic we call it ijarah. Okay, there is no other word other than ijarah, unless we have also kira lah, kira. A hire contract to employ a person with wages paid to him as a consideration for his services. This one is upah. Okay, tapi both are governed by the ruling of ijarah, with a slight differences lah between ujrah between hire contract, which means ijaratul ashkhas and ijaratul a'yan. So we come to that later on inshallah in this particular session inshallah. And for the purpose of a policy document, here the policy document shall only be applicable to the category mentioned in the paragraph 9.1a. This one lah. Clear? Okay.
Clear, betul.
Alhamdulillah. So this is differences of opinion among the scholars. Ada scholars sebenarnya yang kata ijarah tu is not allowed in Islam lah. Some of them, sebagaimana disebut sini, you can try to do research a lot lah on this particular part. Sama ada Al-Hasan Al-Basri, An-Nahrawani ataupun lain-lain tu betul dia melarang ataupun tidak. So you try tengoklah. Tapi ini just for the sake of knowledge, for the benefit of to increase your knowledge on the issue of differences of opinion among the scholars. Okey je, saya tutup muka ni okey je kan? Sebab saya takut saya punya line tu tak clear, sebab saya dekat kampung sebenarnya. Okey. Kalau saya buka saya takut line tu. Saya try buka. Okey tak?
Okey tak?
Tapi bukan bukan rumah saya kat belakang tu. Dia punya
itulah cantik semacam lah tu.
Cantik semacam, tapi macam ada so called apa tu? Locker je belakang tu ke apa tu.
Betul. Betul.
Ya.
Ada orang request nak masuk lagi tu.
Oh tu saya sangat-sangat frustrated lah kalau you all macam ni. Lepas ni jangan request lagi lah maksudnya. The first
Okey.
mana. Okey, Ahmad Fadli ni tak pernah nak awal ni Ahmad Fadli ni. Okey. Okey. Ada two opinions among the scholars lah. Maknanya yang pertama, Hasan Al-Basri, ijarah is the sale of usufruct. Sale of usufruct dia kata. Bai' al-manfa'ah. All services. Usufruct which means usufruct of the asset lah. Services of the human or mankind. And service is something intangible. Sale of usufruct. Usufruct is something intangible and does not exist at the time of contract. So this is the reason or the justification of not allowing ijarah, because they are putting the ijarah similar to the what we call it a buy or sale contract. When you say when you are saying that the contract of ijarah is selling something or selling of usufruct, for example, when you when you do ijarah on your house, for example, there's something which is a subject matter of the sale contract. The first condition is that the asset must be in existence. Okay, but when it comes to the usufruct of the assets or services, the services or the usufruct is something intangible and does not exist at the time of contract. Thus, the ijarah basically against the ruling of the sale contract. Okay, and it only can be achieved ada D gradually over certain period and something that not exist cannot be sold. Okay, so itu dia punya reason lah. So the usufruct tu hanya akan ada gradually. For example, when you pay 1,000 to as a rental in 1 April to hire to lease a house, for example. So the usufruct tu 1,000 for a month, kan? Tapi the usufruct tu ada ke tak lagi? Still not exist lagi, kan? The usufruct, the manfaat itself tu, manfaat tu ada tak lagi? Tak ada. So the manfaat tu only can be achieved gradually over certain period. Over day by day, in day out tu, day by day, the usufruct tu barulah akan boleh dicapai. So from that particular reason or justification, so some of the ulama said that it is not permissible to do contract of ijarah. Okay. But the most of the ulama or majority of ulama, they said that ijarah is allowed lah, even though usufruct does not exist at the time of contract. Normally, it could be realized and achieved. And this type of usufruct or benefit could ordinarily be accomplished, or its accomplishment or non-accomplishment is rather similar. Maknanya, berbalik kepada uruf lah. In fact, kita boleh kata this one is sebenarnya type of, kita kata, exemptions from the original ruling pun kita boleh kata, kita boleh jawab lah. So itu hanya tu. So apa dia punya evidences yang ada dalam Islam? Banyaklah. Di antaranya ialah ayat ni, fa in arda'na lakum fa'atuhunna ujurahun. Okey, itu apa dia? If they breastfeed for you maknanya breastfeed your kid, tapi but for you lah, bukan breastfeed you. Ingat then give them their payment. Bila isterimu menyusui anak keranamu atau untukmu, fa'atuhunna ujurahunna, and then give them their payment. Ujurahunna, which means that the ijarah lah. قالت إحداهما يا أبت استأجره إن خير من استأجرت القوي الأمين قال إني أريد أن أنكحك إحدى ابنتي هاتين على أن تأجرني 8 حجج فإن أتممت 10 فمن عندك وما أريد أن أشق عليك ستجدني إن شاء الله من الصالحين. So itu adalah dia punya dalil. Kalau kita tengok dalam saya tengok dalam kalau ada breaking up atau terputus atau stuck ke apa, bagi tahu saya lah. Saya ni tak nampak, saya punya rupa pun saya tak nampak macam mana. Okey. Okey. Kita sekejap saya buka ni. Syariah standard al-ijarah, kan. Kalau kita buka OIV punya standard, OIV punya standard tu akan ada so-called hujah-hujahnya yang dia sebutlah tentang ijarah itu semua ada. Di belakang tu dia sebut hujah-hujahnya. Okey. Okey, dia sebut macam ni. Ijarah derives permissibility from the Quran and the Sunnah lah. Dia kata ijarah ni ma'khudah min al-Quran was Sunnah, and dia kata al-ijma' fuqaha. Al-Quran selain daripada ayat ini ada ayat lain lagi lah. Ini ayat inilah di antaranya. Dia kata apa tu? Inna khaira man istajartal qawiyul amin. Nabi Allah SWT, Nabi Shu'aib kan? Nabi Shu'aib kan? Betul tak? Anak Nabi Shu'aib kan? Qala ihdahuma. Betul tak? Takut saya tersilap. Betul tak ni? Betul kan? Betul. Okay. Dia kata, oh my dear father, engage him on wages. Maknanya engage him on wages tu maksudnya apa? Dia kata istajirhu, ya abati istajirhu. Lepas tu dia sebut truly the best of men for thee to employ is the man who is strong. Maknanya istajar, perkataan istijar itu di situ diambil daripada perkataan tu lah. Okay, ni the authority for the permissibility of ijarah lah in the Quran. In the Sunnah tu ada banyak lah. One of them is the hadis, give a servant his fee before his sweat dries up. Apa dia yang disebut dalam hadis? A'tul ajira ajrahu qabla an yajiffa 'irquhu. Give a servant, berilah pekerja itu upahnya qabla an yajiffa 'irquhu, before his sweat dries up. So itu salah satu dia punya itulah hadis, dan beberapa hadis lain lagi yang ada reported by Ibn Abbas to the effect of that Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had himself cupped and gave the person who cupped him his remuneration. If it is prohibited, he would have not paid him in the first place. So itu dia punya hadisnya. Ibn Abbas sallam bagi tahu bahawa ihtajaman Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam wa a'tal hajjama ajrahu. Nabi sallallahu pernah cup dia punya cupping tu buat berbekam, dan dia memberi kepada orang bekam tu remuneration atau upah lah di situ. Lepas tu dia punya wajhud dalalahnya, if it is prohibited, he would not have paid him in the first place. Maknanya mungkin Nabi tak akan buat lah benda tu kan. So the last one is ijma' ulama. So this one is the pillars of al-ijarah. Bila masuk pillars tu maksudnya rukun lah. Rukun of al-ijarah. Apa dia rukun al-ijarah? Kalau kita tengok di sini ada 6. Setengahnya dia buat 4 saja. Setengah buku dia buat 4 saja. Kalau dalam ni dia buat berapa? Sama je kot dalam OIV punya standard. Sebab tu dalam tugasan tu saya minta selalu rujuk kepada OIV punya standard dan juga kepada so-called PD lah. Mu'ajir, istilah mu'ajir ni, mu'ajir refer to a person who give something for hire. Sama ada dia disebut sebagai lessor, pemilik lah, ataupun landlord, ataupun owner. So that one is mu'ajir lah. That one mu'ajir. Kalau in the case of contract of hiring, contract of hiring tu, the employer tu is the employee tu is muajir ataupun disebut sebagai ajir, muajir. The employee tu maknanya the one who give something for hire lah. Faham? Lessor ni the owner of the land. Okay, yang menjadi pemilik rumah. Okay, yang itu yang bekerja. Okay, muajir ataupun istilah lain ni sebenarnya ajir. Boleh juga guna istilah lain ajir. In the case of hire contract atau hiring contract. Mustajir, a person who takes on hire or lessee, yang bayar rental lah, tenant, renter, atau employer lah. In the case of kita kata contract of hiring contract tu lah. Ma'jur, a thing given for rent. Yang tu ialah kita kata usufruct lah. Usufruct sama juga. Bukan usufruct, rental ma'jur. Al-manfa'ah is usufruct, the benefit from a thing. Usufruct, services. Ujrah ialah price or fee given for the payment or rent or lease. Sirah ijab kabul. Tapi kita tengok dulu dalam ijarah PD very straightforward lah. straightforward. Kalau kita tengok dalam ijarah fidi dia ada dia ada 4 saja, tapi dalam ni ada 6. Dia pecahkan sikitlah kat situ kan. Contohnya di sini. Sorry. Okay. In ijarah fidi, pillars of ijarah is mentioned under the components of ijarah as follows, kat bawah. An ijarah shall consist of the following components. The contracting parties, namely the lessor and lessee. The lessor and the lessee. Lessor ialah kita kata pemilik sewa or landlord or the owner of the asset, and the second one is lessee. Kemudian yang second one is sirah, which is ijab and qabul. Kemudian the third one, the asset and usufruct. The asset tu ialah al-ma'jur tu, yang sebut tadi al-ma'jur. Usufruct is usufruct from the asset. Okay, kalau asset is rumah, usufruct of the asset apa dia? Manfaah lah. Manfaah yang kita boleh mendiami rumah tersebut. Okay. And the last one is rental. The last one is rental. Okay. Sama je lah lebih kurang. This flows of al-ijarah. This one is the simple or original or basic flow. When a mu'ajir or al-ajir or the owner of the asset to be rented or to be leased out. Okay, bila ada ijarah offer and acceptance, al-mustajir will pay the rental to the owner, and al-mustajir will get the ownership of manfaah only. The al-mustajir will get the ownership of usufruct only, not the corpus of the assets. Okay, itu adalah al-ijarah. Types of al-ijarah. Ijarah can be divided or categorized into different categories. This one we can divide it into the category based on the subject matter. The types of ijarah based on the contractual relationship. The first one is based on the subject matter. What is the subject matter? If the subject matter is tangible asset like property or like land, like building, houses, office and whatnot. So this one is, we call it sewa lah or ijarah, or contract of lease. We have labor like work, kerja. This one is contract of hiring ataupun hire contract. And the third one is the subject matter is based on the description of the asset. We have to give a full descriptions to make sure that the subject matter or the asset to be rented out or to be leased out is certain, or is, we call it, to minimize the uncertainty of the asset. This is what I have asked in the UKM folio about the al-ijarah al-mawsufah fi dhimmah. Ijarah mawsufah fi dhimmah, and we will go later on insyaAllah. If we have enough time, insyaAllah I will try to read a little bit on that particular subject. Okay. And the second types of kind of category of ijarah is based on the contractual relationship. We can divide it into two. The first one is operating lease. This one is the original ijarah. When we say operating lease or operating ijarah is the original one or the normal one, like you see in the current practice of sewa rumah, sewa kereta, or so-called sewa pejabat. This one is operating lease. Okay, and you pay an amount of money as a rental for a certain period. For example, you pay 1,000 to rent or to lease to rent a house. Okay, so itu adalah operating lease. The second one is financial lease or finance lease, or some people say it's financing lease, which means that the contract of ijarah that is used by the Islamic financial institutions as a mode of financing to give or to fund people who need some kind of financing amount lah. Okay, that one we call it financial lease. Okay. We move on to another slide. Okay. Okay, ini tadilah yang kita discuss tadi. Based on subject matter of the lease asset, we can divide the ijarah into 3 type of ijarah. The first one we call it ijaratul ain or ijaratul a'yan. Ijaratul ain or ijaratul a'yan. The second one is ijaratul a'mal or ijaratul ashkhas. Ijaratul a'mal pun boleh, ijaratul ashkhas pun boleh. Kemudian ijarah mausufah fi dhimmah. What is ijarah al-ain? Ijaratul a'yan. Ijaratul a'yan is to lease the usufruct from the specific goods or assets. To lease out the usufruct from the specific goods or asset. And it comprises all tangible assets. What means by tangible asset? What mean by tangible asset? Something that you can touch, you can possess. That one is tangible asset. Okay, like property. When we say property basically is land lah. Land, something like building. Okay, transport, kereta, car, van, motorcycle, and all other facilities and factories lah. What we call it as a brick and mortar kind of thing lah. Okay, so to lease the usufruct from the specific good, that one is ijaratul ain. Kalau if you read literature in ijarah in the fiqh literature in the book of fiqh, you can see people jurists talk about the ijaratul adabah. Ijaratul dabah, which is animal. Animal is a kind of type of vehicle in the previous time, like in the ancient time. The second one is ijaratul a'mal or ijaratul amal or ijaratul ashkhas. Ijaratul ashkhas refer to the human being lah. To list out the works, to hire, list out the works. Maknanya kita menyewakan kerja kita or self or our skills. Okay, di sini kita ada 2 types of ijaratul amal lah. We call it ajirul khas and ajirul am. Ajir mushtarak, satu lagi yang mushtarak, sorry. Kalau ajirul khas, employee, person, entity that work only for the interest of a particular employer or independent contractor, does not have right to work for any other lessee does not have right to work for any other lessee during contract. Betul? Okay, faham tak? For example, ini disebut ijaratul ashkhas ataupun ijaratul a'mal. This one ijarah khas, ajirun khas disebut istilahnya. Sorry, saya kena bagi awak lebih clear supaya nanti nak rujuk. Ajir khas. This one we call it ajir mushtarak. So ajir khas ni like kita kata doktor, pensyarah, okay, that one is ajir khas lah. Okay, atau maid, apa nama kita kata, bibik. And independent contractor ini offer services to the general public. Ini ajir mushtarak. Maknanya they have a right to work for any other employer lah. Maknanya different employer at the same time. Kalau yang ajir khas at the same time tu dia hanya satu employer sahaja. So this one like dia sebut di sini apa nama, macam-macam macam ni lah, lawyer, consultant, sebagainya. Okay, jelas tak?
Jelas tu.
Jelas tu.
Jelas.
So, in terms of the discussion of fuqaha on the ijarah al-a'yan, ijarah al-aman, both kind of ijarah thoroughly discussed in the fiqh literature. I think you can go back to the literature lah. You go back to the book of fiqh to get more information, to get more knowledge, to increase your knowledge with regard to ijarah al-a'yan, ijaratul a'man. The last point or last one is ijarah mausufah fi dhimmah. This one is very kita kata structured or very structured contract of ijarah. It becomes most usable ijarah in current practice or modern practice. It is a form of ijarah where assets needs to be described in advance. You have to get the full information and description of ijarah, but the assets is not in existence yet. The lease item is not available during contract. The asset must be delivered on a future agreed date. No requirement should be imposed for the rental payment to be paid in advance. This one is ijarah mausufah fi dhimmah. Okay. So anyone can add on about the ijarah mausufah fi dhimmah? I just mentioned in the earlier class, in the earlier session today. I have put in the UKM folio. Saya tak buka lagi UKM folio. Saya nak tengok siapa sekejap. Let me Okay, ada siapa-siapa yang buka UKM folio tak tadi? With regard to ijarah mausufah fi dhimmah. This one. Mananya? Okey. Macam mana saya nak tengok? Okey, ada dua orang yang ni bagi si. Okey. Okey. Ada semua tengok kan? Nampak tak dalam tu? Azwar just entered this chat and Azwar has left this chat. Okey. Okey, bawah tu. Norizati, ijarah mausufah fi dhimmah merupakan suatu akad sewa menyewa yang dilakukan di mana objek yang disewakan itu belum ada, namun telah diperjelaskan berdasarkan spesifikasi atau kriteria tertentu serta berada dalam tanggungan atau jaminan penjual sehingga objek itu ada kot kan. Betul tak Norizawati? Okey, Azwar, ada satu akad jualan manfaat pada masa akan datang bagi tujuan mendapatkan tunai secara lani atau sebuah akad salam. No, ijarah is not akad salam sebenarnya. Ijarah is not akad salam. Bukan. Okey, kita tengok dulu. Saya share sekejap yang punya apa nama? Saya share saya punya PD, Bank Negara PD untuk kita faham sikit ya. Nampak tak? Ke tak nampak?
Tak nampak.
Okay,
Tak nampak.
Tak nampak.
Sorry, saya share je. Okay, this one. Okay. Nampak kan? Ni nampak kan?
Nampak.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Okay, this one. The arrangement of an ijarah contract with manufacturing istisna. Tapi saya rasa dia ada satu lagi. Mausufah. Okay, this one, the definition of ijarah mausufah fi dhimmah. A contract that transfers ownership of a usufruct for a specified durations. Dia nak transfer ownership of a usufruct for a specified duration. Maknanya aset tu tak ada lagi, usufruct pun tak ada lagi, tapi dia akan transfer for a specified duration in the future based on an agreed specification by the contracting parties at the inception of the contract, ijarah contract. Let's say today we do our contract with our counterparty to do ijarah. We as a owner of the asset and the counterparty is the lessee. Lessee ataupun penyewa, dia kata dia akan sewa pada 5 tahun akan datang. Aset apa yang dia nak, so ada spesifikasi aset-aset macam tu. Okay, aset tu. So sekarang ni dia dah bayar sewa tersebut, tapi sewa itu akan berlaku pada masa akan datang. That one is ijarah mausufah fi dhimmah. Okay, asset to be made available at an agreed future date based on agreed specification in which is known as ijarah mausufah fi dhimmah. Asset to be made available at an agreed future. Yang biasanya kalau dalam konteks Islamic banking, under house under construction lah. Bila under construction, dia guna ijarah mausufah fi dhimmah lah. Sebab tu dia sebut dalam asset and usufruct punya PD Bank Negara 13.1, dia kata yang C ni ialah in existence kan. Syarat dia aset tu mesti ada. Kalau kita nak sewa rumah mesti ada. Tapi for the case, in the case of ijarah mausufah fi dhimmah, the third condition ni is not applicable to ijarah mausufah fi dhimmah sebab aset tak ada lagi. Okey, aset tak ada lagi. Ini dinamakan forward ijarah ataupun ijarah mausufah fi dhimmah. Forward ijarah ataupun ijarah maybe ijarah mausufah fi dhimmah may be effected as the ijarah tu sendiri boleh dibuat dalam bentuk forward list based on asset specification, yakni ijarah mausufah fi dhimmah, atau forward list on an identified assets. Okay, dalam ijarah mausufah fi dhimmah shall be affected as follows. Dia kata, the lessor transfers usufruct of an asset for a specified duration in the future. Pemilik itu akan transfer usufruct, manfaat bagi sesuatu aset for a specified duration, dalam tempoh yang tertentu pada masa akan datang. And the asset is to made available at an agreed future date lah. Based on agreed specification. Katakan dalam tempoh 2 tahun dia akan ada, baru ada benda tu. Ketika mana mula-mula kontrak itu dibuat lah. Tapi ijarah mudhafah ila mustaqbal ni lain sikit lah. So kita tengok pada ijarah mausufah fi dhimmah saja. Sebab yang under current practice ni ada setengah-setengah bank dia buat ijarah mausufah fi dhimmah. Okay. Let's move on to our slide again. Okey, kita akan masuk kepada seterusnya, iaitu types of ijarah. As I said before, ijarah can be divided into two types also based on the contractual relationship. The first one is original form of ijarah, which is operating lease ataupun operating ijarah. The features of operating lease atau operating ijarah ini adalah asset acquisition is in full ownership of the lessor. If the bank, for example, the bank has a building, legal and beneficial ownership of the asset is belong to the bank lah. Ataupun kalau kita as a owner of the house, legal and beneficial ownership of the asset is under our full ownership, under the full ownership lah. Responsibility to maintain bond by bond tu bukan bear. Responsibility to maintain bond by the lessor in administrative affairs and maintenance of asset. Maknanya semuanya mesti lessor lah, kita as the owner of the asset, so we should bear all the costs related to the admin, related to the maintenance of the assets, because the lessor, the owner, should make sure that the asset can be used and can be so-called benefited by the lessee lah. Lessee only responsible in the maintenance due to the usage and has to pay rent per agreed punya agreement. Risk on the asset under liability and responsibility of the lessor, and this one is, we call it high risk in nature, because all the responsibility to maintain the asset will be borne by the bank lah. Tapi in terms of the practice, yes, the bank may have their own assets. Jatuh. The bank may have their own asset and lease it out to the other parties lah. The second one is the most important types of ijarah, which is financial lease or financial ijarah. And normally this type of lease or this type of ijarah is used by all Islamic bank, because Islamic bank is a financial intermediary, perantara kewangan. So this kind of ijarah will be used as a underlying contract to help or to assist or the public or the mass, the people, in terms of obtaining their acquire their desired asset, or like a vehicle, like a house and whatnot. And in Malaysia we have a different kind of term. For the vehicle financing, basically we use ijarah thummal bai'. For the house financing, we have like Maybank Islamic, they use al-ijarah muntahiyah bi-at-tamliq. And I think in Malaysia we don't have the name ijarah wal iqtina'. Maybe other countries like Bangladesh or India or UK, maybe they use ijarah wa al-iqtina'. But the feature or the structure basically is the same. They use the contract of ijarah, whereby the bank is the owner of the asset at the first place, and will lease out the asset during a specified tenure or duration, for example 6 years, 7 years, to the customer or the client, and the customer will pay the rental for that specific period. And after that, the owner, at the last period or the last tenure, the ownership will be transferred from the bank to the so-called client or customer via the specific agreement or specific contract, such as al-bai' or hibah or any other form of contract lah that can be used. So this one is financial lease, ataupun kita kata ijarah pembiayaan. Yang tadi ijarah operasi. Okay. Any other question? Any other, can I take any question from all of you? Faham sini ya?
Doktor,
Yeah.
Faham tu.
yang tadi doktor kata yang kat Malaysia pakai ijarah summa al-baik je.
Di Malaysia kita ada ijarah, most of the vehicle financing or car financing lah, we use ijarah thummal baik. Tapi ada juga dalam ijarah muntahiyah bitamlik dalam produk-produk seperti house financing lah. Kalau kita tengok rent to own yang under the Maybank Islamic punya produk, kita guna ijarah muntahiyah bitamlik. Okay. Tapi boleh explore lah, tengok lagi, takut ada bank lainnya. So sebelum ni Quick Finance House, if I'm not mistaken, they use the ijarah muntahiyah bitamlik also for home financing, pembiayaan perumahan. Okay, this one is very fiqhi punya discussion with regard to the subject matter of al-ijarah. Since ijarah is the sale of usufruct, majority of jurists forbid ijarah on trees and grapevines, since fruit are physical goods and ijarah is the sale of usufruct and not physical goods lah. Sebab tu ijarah untuk kita kata pokok tu ada isu in terms of, because the purpose of kita kata the purpose of, let's say we say there is a ijarah to list out the tree like pokok yang ada buah lah, that yang ada fruit kan. So the purpose of ijarah tu sebenarnya ialah to get the fruits kan. So jadi situ timbul isu lah. Okay, kita stop sekejap sebab ada azan. Rumah saya ni sebelah surau. Dengar tak? Dengar azan ke?
Dengar tak?
Allah.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
Okay. Okey, kat sini ni kan. Okey. Kemudian it is also not permissible to conduct ijarah on animal for its meat. Tapi if the purpose of using that kind of animal is as a vehicle, it is permissible lah. But if the purpose of ijarah is only for its meat atau benih offspring, wool dan sebagainya, water itu tak boleh. Itu juga water in the river or well or canal, since all these are goods and not eligible to be under contract of ijarah. Okay. It is also not permitted to conduct ijarah on non-arable, not fit for cultivation land, which have ponds for fishing, canes and wildlife for hunting. Since all these are goods, it is not legal to rent pond or lake for fishing. Kita kata sebab uncertainty with regard to the asset lah. But the basic principle of ijarah, every time that could be utilized with its original substance and parts consistently being conserved or preserved is allowed for ijarah. And if not, is not legal. Okay. Ni conditions for property. Okay, ni syarat-syarat yang disebut juga dalam PD pun ada sebut lah. The property must be belong to lessor, maknanya the ownership of the property tu resides to the lessor lah. Maknanya the full ownerships and right ownerships. That's why in the practice of ijarah thermal bite, if you can see under the agreement done or conducted between the bank and the client or customer, if we do ijarah thermal bite, at the first place the bank must acquire the asset based on the sale contract, even though the customer will be the agent of the bank to get or to acquire the asset on behalf of the bank lah. This is what we call it ijarah thermal bite in terms of vehicle financing in Malaysia. To reflect the conditions of property in ijarah contract, which is the property must be owned by the lessor or the owner lah. The property is also known to both parties and is specified. Tidak boleh ada element of gharar or uncertainty. If you want to rent something, we have to know the asset lah. The property can be acquired by the lessee for his use until the end of tenancy or lease. The property should be in a good conditions, possible for leasing. Itu semua the responsibility of the owner lah to ensure to maintain the asset lah. It is the liability of the lessor to repair damages of the property in order to make it possible for leasing. Kalau tengok daripada awal lagi, the liability of the lessor to repair damages of the property in order to make it possible for leasing. Nampak tak? But under our current practice ijarah thermal bite, basically the we are subject to the Hire Purchase Act lah, which is a bit different lah from the Syariah perspective. It is the liability of the lessee to ensure the cleanliness and safety of the property. Maknanya, in terms of maintenance of the asset, repair if there is a damage of the asset of the property, that one is under the responsibility of lessor. The lessee responsible to ensure the maintenance in terms of the usage of the assets, or like how to clean the asset, the safety of the asset. That one is under the liability of the lessee lah. which is related to the daily usage of the asset. The liability of the lessee of the property is under the concept yad amanah, not wadi'ah, sorry. Not wadi'ah sebenarnya. Under the concept of trust, not wadi'ah, under the concept of yad amanah. Okay. Because wadi'ah you cannot use, because when you say wadi'ah, wadi'ah is something like safekeeping. You cannot use the asset. This one is ijarah. You are using the asset, but based on the concept of trust. The lessee is al-amin, which is trustee of the asset. So what is the responsibility of al-amin? What is the responsibility of a trustee? The trustee must ensure the assets in good conditions to take care of the asset. In the case of damages due to his negligence, the lessee is liable to pay the compensation of dhaman lah, kena bayar ganti rugi lah, if the damages due to his negligence or misconduct or another one, breach of contract lah. If you under the policy document of ijarah, you can see under the, sorry, mana tadi? Under the PD, apa nama tadi saya nak tak tahu. Liability kita apa tadi? Sorry. Damage, okay. Negligence. Okay. Oh sorry, saya tak share lagi. Kalau under the ijarah, okay, nampak tak? Nampak kan? Okay. Nampak tak?
Nampak.
Okay, this one is concerning liability for loss, damage or impairment of leased asset. Mana asset tu kalau ada rosak dan sebagainya. The lessee penyewa shall be held liable for any loss, damage or impairment of the leased asset unless he is able to prove that there is no ta'addi, taksir or mukhalafah asyurut on his part that resulted to such loss, damage or impairment. Nampak tak? Maknanya dia dalam konteks praktis in Malaysia ni, dia punya praktis tu macam ada terbalik sikit. Faham tak? Jadi not liable unless ada mukhalafah, ada negligence. Faham tak? Macam kita kata the principle of not guilty unless proven lah. Faham tak? That is the original principle. Faham? But in terms of the policy document of when Bank Negara, when it comes to the application of ijarah as a financing, mode of financing to cater the need of the people, the customers, the under the standard 16.3, Bank Negara state that putting a little bit, the way around lah. Macam the lessee shall be held liable for any loss. At the first place, dia tu liability is on the lessee. Okay, if there is any loss, damage or impairment, unless dia ada ability to prove bahawa tak ada misconduct, tak ada ta'addi, laisa hunaka taqsir wala mukhalafat asyurut wala ta'addi, barulah dianggap sebagai dia tu tidak liable. Okey, faham lah?
Faham betul.
Nampak So kenapa begitu? Itu yang kita kena tanya Bank Negara, kenapa dia tengok kod tu. You just can imagine lah how when it come to the institutions, one big institutions like bank for example ataupun koperasi for example, when bagi ijarah, bagi sewa kepada mass people, public mass of people ni, ramai orang, maknanya to ensure the asset tu on that their part as under their responsibility is quite difficult lah, kita faham lah. So maybe from that kind point of view mungkin sebab tu dia guna cara lain. Tapi the purpose ataupun kita kata the essence tu masih sama. The essence tu masih sama. Apa maksud saya? Maksud saya bila kita kata liability of the lessee over the property tu masih lagi under the concept of amanah lah. Kalau betul-betul no negligence, dia not liable to pay lah. Okay. Sebab tu kadang-kadang ada benda yang kita kena rujuk balik dalam tu, kita akan tengok different dia punya treatment. Okay, seterusnya the lessee cannot lease the property to another tenant, and the second contract is considered as illegitimate. This one is what we call it as a original ruling juga. Bila saya sewa rumah, saya tak boleh menyewakan to another penyewa, and the second contract is considered as illegitimate. Faham? No, sorry. This one is not original ruling. This one is some kita kata fuqaha lah. Some fuqaha letak macam tu. Okay, kalau kita tengok dalam mazhab Syafi'i, when I pay a rental, when I rent a house, I have the ownership of the over the user flat, and I am kita kata allowed to rent to lease out it to another tenant lah. Anda boleh sewakan kepada that one is sebenarnya okay, garis merah macam ni lah. Okay, boleh masing-masing nanti kita ambil sini sebahagian daripada untuk kita buat self study, boleh tak? You tengok balik dalam kitab-kitab fiqh. Okay? Seperti mana yang anda sebut tadi. Faham tak ni?
Faham, Doktor.
Faham. Kalau kita tengok dalam kitab-kitab fiqh balik, dia ada apa nama? Keizinan lah dalam bab tu. Dalam ni dia panggil sublease lah. Kalau kita tengok dalam apa nama? Bank negara punya tu, sebab tu ni mungkin anda pun tak sempat semak lagi yang ni yang asal. So kita tengok balik ini ada sebahagian view lah. Kalau pemilik kata tak boleh, memang tak boleh lah. Itu normal lah under the tapi kalau kita tengok dalam mazhab Syafi'i, tak ada masalah. Kalau pemilik tak ada hak untuk melarang lah sebenarnya. Unless kita kata guna kaedah asyurut lah, al-muslimuna ala syurutihim. So, nampak tak list back ni? Sublease bukan list back, sorry, sublease. Under G is guidance lah, bukan satu standard. Maknanya benda ni bagus untuk ada. Unless expressly prohibited in the main ijarah contract, a lessee may sublease the lease asset to a third party. Nampak tak? So kata saya sewa rumah tu setahun, saya boleh sewakan rumah tu pula untuk pada third party dalam tempoh setahun lah, yang sama dengan tak boleh saya sewakan 2 tahun. Faham? Lepas tu rental under the sublease may be similar, higher or lower than the rental agreed under the main ijarah. So faham tak? Tapi kalau expressly prohibited in the main contract, maka tak boleh. It is not. Maknanya this one is maybe under the concept of al-muslimuna ala syurutihim. Al-Muslims are bound by their stipulation and conditions put upon in the contract lah. So, okay, ada berapa lama lagi masa? Okay.
Doktor, kalau dari sudut pemilikan, macam mana pula? Kalau
pemilikan.
Dia sewakan, dia tidak memiliki aset tu sebenarnya. Kemudian dia menyewakan kepada orang lain. Adakah dia tertakluk pada syarat tu juga?
Okay, terima kasih. Good question. Okay. According to the Jumhurul Fuqaha, al-ijarah ni one of the form ataupun one of the contract yang menunjukkan adanya ownership of usufruct tu sebenarnya kembali kepada penyewa. Pemilikan manfaat tu pada penyewa. So bila dia sewa kepada orang lain, sublease tu, when it come to the sublease issue, maknanya the lessee is already the owner of usufruct. Dia sewakan manfaat. Maka manfaat tu, maka dia ada hak lah untuk menyewakannya pada third party. Dia tak akan jadi, tak ada isu tidak memiliki aset. Sebab manfaat itu dianggap sebagai harta dalam syariah. So maka dia boleh disewakan. Dia tidak dia tidak melanggar condition itulah. Condition tentang aset itu tidak dimiliki olehnya. Okey, faham? So subject matter tu ialah usufruct. Di situ adalah pandangan majority of fuqaha, which includes mazhab Asy-Syafi'i lah, mazhab Asy-Syafi'i. Tapi ini mungkin dalam mazhab tapi you all boleh rujuk baliklah dalam kitab Fiqh Islami wa Adillatuh ke, cuba rujuk balik. Mungkin boleh kita boleh bincang nanti dari sudut statement inilah. Sebab dalam bank negara very straightforward lah, macam Ana share tadi. Sebab tu pentingnya masuk kuliah ni. Sebab Ana akan menggunakan pandangan yang mainstream lah. Okay, the sale of a leased property is legitimate. Okay, however, the lessee has a right to use the property until the lease contract has expired, where the property will then be submitted to the buyer lah. Ini the concept of wadi'ah is applied when the lease contract expired and the lessee is still holding. Okay, ini betul lah. Bila lease contract dah expired, katakan sewa setahun tapi tak pulang, sewa kereta 7 hari tapi tak pulangkan lagi, so dia akan anggap bahawa konsep wadi'ah lah bila dia tak pulangkan lagi. Okay. Conditions of usufruct pula. The use of the service usufruct can be valued with money. Okay, the usufruct tu boleh dinilai lah. The usufruct must be valid according to the Islamic commercial law. Maksudnya according to Islam lah as the whole, the usufruct must be valid. Jadi tak bolehlah nak menyewa what so called diri manusia sendiri untuk tujuan perzinahan. Itu tak bolehlah. The lessee should be able to make use of the property on lease. Kita bagi access to the lessee to make use of the property. The usage of the property should be made clear in order to avoid any argument. Mesti clear. Cara penggunaan tu apa dia? Sebab apa? Kalau rumah, let's say the asset, lease asset is a house, kita kata atau residential house, maka the asset should be used as a residential punya purpose, not for the like kita kata apa sebagai bengkel kereta ke, tak boleh lah kan. The usufruct does not entitle the lessee to own the property. Maknanya usufruct tu maksudnya dia memiliki usufruct, not the property, not the corpus of the property. Okay, the lessee is not obliged to inform the lessor his intention for using property asset in the case of possible destruction. Okay. Tapi sebenarnya dari sudut asalnya ialah dia kena ikut the uruf lah. The uruf comes into the picture when there is kita kata conflicting views among the between the contracting parties, lessor and lessee. The usufruct of property beyond its normal usage is considered as an act of intention. Okay. Conditions for payment, maknanya untuk rental. The amount of payment of rent must be known. Maknanya kena ketahui lah berapa. The payment of rent can be made in advance. Boleh bayar awal. If the condition for payment does not prescribe to be paid in advance, the payment begins when the usufruct started. Kalau tak sebut nak bayar bila, maka dia akan start dengan apabila mana user fraud tu ada, bermula lah. If the payment is made on daily, weekly or monthly basis, the payment should be made at the end of period unless otherwise stated on the agreement. If the property cannot be used, the payment is not obliged upon the user. Mungkin dia berbeza sedikit lah kalau kita tengok dalam konteks bank negara punya rental. Kita tengok dia punya rental. Dia sebut tentang rental rate je. Under the bank negara punya policy document, rental shall be determined and agreed by the contracting parties at the inception of the ijarah contract. Mesti dah dipersetujui at the first starting of the agreement tu. The contracting parties may mutually agree for the rental to be paid by the lessee in the following manner. In cash boleh, in kind boleh, in advance boleh, deferred boleh, in a lump sum boleh, by installment pun boleh. So semuanya based on the agreement or mutual consent between contracting parties lah. Rental amount to be paid in fixed amount pun boleh. Ada reference to specified benchmark pun boleh. To pay using a combination dua tu pun boleh. Okay, itu semua dalam bank negara tu lah. The lessor shall not increase the rental unilaterally. Pemilik tidak boleh menaikkan harga rental secara satu pihak. Maknanya dia kena ada perbincangan lah. Faham? The contracting parties may from time to time mutually agree to revise the rental of the lease asset. Mereka boleh revise lalu. Okay. So itu adalah beberapa perkara berkaitan dengan rental. Okay. Kemudian the conditions of sirah ini biasalah. Contract of offer and acceptance ni boleh baca sendirilah nanti ya. Differences between ijarah and normal sale. Ijarah based solely on a predetermined time frame as part of the requirement of the contract. Tapi normal sale does not permit any time frame. Tak ada time frame. Jual beli ni mesti berlaku on the spot lah. Sorry, bukan on the spot, maknanya mesti berlaku lah. Dia tak ada time frame macam ijarah. A temporary contract with a specified time frame for its expiry and due time. Tapi kalau normal sale dia dianggap sebagai permanent contract. Dia dipanggil a ta'bid. Sifatnya a ta'bid. Ownership transfer of transfer of ownership occurs to transfer of ownership of corpus and user fraud. Itu adalah sale contract. Tapi under the ijarah contract, no transfer of ownership. Meaning that no transfer of ownership of corpus of the asset. Bukan user fraud, tapi user fraud tu berlaku transfer sebenarnya. Transfer of user fraud only. Normal sales, physical goods and property. Ijarah ni ialah kena pada dia punya subject matter ni ialah user fraud and services. Subject matternya. Okay. This one taken from the Osmani. Ini saya punya added by me juga ni. The rules of ijarah in the sense of leasing is very much analogous to the rules of sale. Sama seperti jual beli. Sebab apa? Because the contract of ijarah is also one of the contract of exchange. Maka dia like sale contract ataupun buy contract lah. Because in both cases, something is transferred to another person for a valuable consideration. In the case of ijarah, the transfer tu apa berlaku? Transfer of user fraud, transfer ownership of user fraud. Okay. In the case of sale, transfer of corpus and user fraud, both corpus and user fraud together. The only difference between ijarah and sale is that in the latter case, the corpus of the property is transferred. Nampak? Macam dalam sale, while in the case of ijarah, the corpus of the property remains in the ownership of the transferor, but only its usufruct to use is transferred to the lessee. Okay. Modern application, simple ijarah. Ini semua adalah. Tapi yang jadi fokus kita ialah al-ijarah thummal bai'. Apa ijarah thummal bai'? Aitab in Malaysia. Aitab also known as ijarah wa al-iqtina' atau ijarah muntahiyah bitamlik. Ini kan terma yang biasalah. Tapi in terms of practice, little bit different lah. Slight different between ijarah muntahiyah bitamlik and ijarah wal iqtina'. So the definition of ijarah thummal bai', owning the benefit of certain assets for a specified period of time by paying an agreed sums of rental with an agreement that the owner will transfer the rented asset to the hirer, to the lessee at the end of the agreed period or during the period, provided all rental payments and installment have been made in entirely. Okay. So in theory, the contract of aitab ni shall consist of two different contract lah. The first one is ijarah al-ayan or ijarah. The second one is sale contract. Meaning that the first part is ijarah. For example, the contract of ijarah thummal bai', let's say we take it as 9 years kind of financing punya tenure. So at 9 years tu, every month is a rental price, ataupun contract of ijarah. At the last year or ataupun last installment is regarded as a contract of sale. Okay, faham? Dia segregate lah antara dua tu. So aitab is a contract of leasing ended by ownership lah, ataupun with a promise to sell the asset, promised by the bank or promise by the bank to sell the asset to the customer lah. Maknanya itu maknanya ijarah thumma al-bai'. Saya ada artikel dalam buku di UKM tu, buku terbitan UKM dalam buku apa nama? Aplikasi muamalat tu. Saya ada satu artikel dia. Mungkin boleh cari dalam library UKM dia punya tu. Artikel saya tu mengenai ijarah thummal bai'. Okay, so in aitab, the contract of ijarah runs separately from the contract. See, dia separate lah between al-bai'. Ada stages dia. First stage ialah executing the contract of true leasing, maknanya ijaratul ain macam biasa. Second stage is executing the contract of sale. To make sure the ownership tu transfer lah. Okay, faham? Yang ni siapa yang buat ijarah? Dalam tutorial ada yang buat ijarah kan? So yang buat ijarah boleh tengok lah ijarah thummal bai'. Satu lagi boleh tengok ijarah muntahiyah bitamlik ke? Mana-mana. Anda akan semak dia punya apa nama? Punya rubrik punya borang tu dulu untuk saya confirmkan lah. First contract of ijarah. Okay. This one dia punya bentuk lah. Okay, bila tengok asset ni, katakan customer bayar sewa kepada pembiaya iaitu bank. Ini agreement. Di akhir tu, akhir tenure, akhir period tu, akhir duration tu barulah dia ada sale contract. Nampak? So mula-mula dia sewa, lepas tu barulah dia akan pindah milik. Itu yang berlaku lah dalam aitab. Okay, any questions? End of chapter. Habis.
Betul.
Yes.
Tadi kan apa yang dekat folio tu ada yang kata ijarah tu sebagai salah satu bentuk bai' salam. Jadi pernyataan tu tak kena ke macam mana, Doktor?
Ijarah bukan bai' salam. Bai' salam tu adalah sewa. Ijarah mausufah bizimah bukan bai' salam. Faham tak? Dia nampak macam sama tapi dia bukan. Ijarah is ijarah lah. Ijarah tu sewa. Bai' salam ni jual beli. Okey, jelas
Jelas, Doktor.
Okay. Ada soalan Wan Fuad? Ada soalan?
Tadi doktor ada sebut tentang kalau sewa satu benda, kemudian bila lambat pulang kan dia akan jadi wadiah. Macam mana dia boleh jadi wadiah dan bagaimana set wadiah tu terjadi lah?
Dia mengambil hukum wadiah secara automatically sebab dia kena pegang on trust benda tu.
Faham? Mengambil hukum wadiah secara automatically. Dia tak berjadi dengan kontrak macam tu. Bila entah sewa satu rumah, kan, entah tak rampas benda tu. Dia tak akan panggil hukum ghasb. Faham tak? Entah diberi izin tetapi oleh kerana masa tu dah habis. Faham tak? Tapi entah tak ada masa lagi nak menyerahkan dia. So entah akan memegang tu, keep the asset on trust. Okay? Sehinggalah the asset is submitted again to the, ataupun deliver again to the right owner lah, owner dia. Okay, itu maksudnya konsep wadiah tu, konsep trust. Sepatutnya bila habis 7 hari sewa kereta kena serah lah, kan. Dia tak boleh pakai rampas situ, hukum rampas lain. Rampas ni dia ambil secara rampasan kan, ghasb. Yang ni dipanggil hukum wadiah sebab dia diizinkan. Diizinkan untuk ambil pada peringkat awal tapi cuma period tu habis masa. Ada sebenarnya perbahasan fuqaha lebih detail tu. Okey, ada soalan? Okey, tak ada apa, kita stop di sini dululah. Minggu depan pula kita jumpa insya-Allah. Ataupun mungkin Dr. Mano insya-Allah minggu depan Pak Juan lah, saya bagi tahu dah dia sebenarnya.
Doktor.
Untuk
mungkin boleh doktor buat seruan sikit untuk jawatan kuasa program tu.
Ya,
cerita
saya
sikit.
nak
Ada yang
okey. Terima kasih pada Fuad. Saya nak ringkas saja. Jawatan kuasa tu nampak tak ramai lagi kan. Jawatan kuasa tu kita nak bentuk jawatan kuasa. Program tu akan diadakan pada minggu ke-7. Iaitu pada tarikh 6 Mei kalau tak silap, 6 Mei kan. Jam 12 hingga ke-2 iaitu masa kita punya ni, masa kita punya khusus. Ana nak minta semua wakil lah daripada setiap tutorial tu kena ada lah. Okey, untuk menjadi jawatan kuasa, nak buat poster, kita nak buat sebab Ana nak initiate meeting ni lepas pada ni. Minggu depan ke kalau free kita nak buat, kalau dah tu kita nak poster, kita nak ada yang dari segi dana kita akan guna mohon dana daripada fakulti lah. Dana daripada fakulti untuk dana tak ada guna dana apa, hanya dana yang kita guna adalah untuk so-called bayar pada penceramah saja, tu saja. Penceramah pun akan cerita tentang aplikasi syariah. Basically tentang takaful ni ialah wakalah dan juga mudharabah lah. Nanti akan melibatkan, dan kita dah habis belajar tu mungkin wakalah dan juga mudharabah. So kita akan nampak sikit lah kat situ. So Ana nak minta lah, kalau Ana sebut nama kan susah pula. Volunteer je, itu adalah satu bantulah kita sama-sama ni secara online. Kita pun taklah, bukannya berat macam pikul berat lagi kan. Hanya kita bantu sama kita untuk kita meeting sekejap, nanti bulan 7 habis itu kita akan ada akan dapat point lah bagi kita insya-Allah. Okey. Juga Fuad lah, boleh tu sekali lagi Fuad boleh up kan sekali lagi nanti dekat kita punya group volunteer. Ramai kan daripada kita ni, daripada berapa orang dia? 50 orang ke? 30 orang je kita tak? 38. Saya rasa tak ramai macam subjek tu. Dalam ni 33. Okeylah, tu je lah. Anak-anak boleh lah. Siapa lagi yang anak nak tengok je ah. Anak tengah tengok ni nama je ah. Yang dah ada. Semua kat rumah kan ke ada datang ke UKM?
Akan balik tu. Akan datang.
Akan balik ke UKM? Bila?
Mula hari Sabtu dan juga Ahad ni tu.
Oh, dia suruh balik dah UKM ke? Tak lagi kan, dia online lagi kita ni.
Tak wajib tu. Dia ikut.
Pilihan.
Okey. Sekarang kita ada nama ni hanya Wan Fuad, Hanan, Jamilu. Teknikal ni Firdaus tak ada sini.
Fidaw masuklah Fidaw. Ana tak kenal sangat orang ni sebenarnya. Ana kenal yang beberapa ingat nama. Fadli masuk sekali Fadli. Fadli pun ada. Fadli. Duduk Kota Baru ke?
Jeli. Duduk Bangi.
Bangi. Boleh lah. Tak banyak mana tu. Okey? Boleh eh? Nanti masuk isi balik. Okey, Ana keluar dulu. Okey?
Terima kasih Doktor.
Yang lagi. Okey, Ana balik kampung ni sebenarnya. Balik Terengganu, Rentah Negeri. Okey. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih, Doktor.
Terima kasih Doktor. Okey, terima kasih Doktor.
Sama-sama.
Terima kasih Doktor.